Check out this t-shirt I got from JCPenney, free with a purchase. I ran down there the moment I saw that on Twitter and got myself this free t-shirt. Although the Olympics have been a fun spectacle to watch these past weeks, I've looked more into it and have come to learn upon research that the Olympics as a whole does not operate as a big charity, certainly not as a non-profit, but one of these multinational corporate businesses with a history of shady business practices. There's a long list, and it keeps growing, but 3 points I'm going to cover with you today are about the games before the games, how the bottom line profit for the sponsors are at the top of that list, the environmental impact that goes unchecked, and the housing issue with the homeless. I've been skeptical of the Olympics since I saw that their major sponsor is McDonald's. My friend, Lena Manifi, was an independent journalist in Vancouver, Canada during their Winter Olympics. She began reporting the negatives of the Olympics, and quote, which eventually got me pushed out of Vancouver as a journalist, as the company only pushed to report good news to be allowed coverage. She had some resources for me to look into. So, the irony of a company like McDonald's sponsoring the Olympics. Has it always been like this? No. The 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, go figure, were the first dominated by corporate sponsorship that reaped $338 million from their investment. Again, back in 1984. Well, by the 1992 Summer Games in Barcelona, the profits doubled to $700 million. This year, the take is expected to top $2 billion. This ambush marketing that the Olympic sponsors now use go as far out to reach to banning specific words. Brought a little treat for us. This is a few days old, but it doesn't rot. No big a few days. Right on the bag, official restaurant. So the sponsors get to ban words like gold, silver, bronze, summer, 2012, London, for use except by them. Right on the bag. The gold standard from the gold arches. Malls move into town as well when the Olympics come to town. Survival for small local businesses, which are supposed to get this huge boost from all this tourism that's going to come through? No. How are they supposed to compete with a mall that costs over $1 billion to create? With transportation that funnels these tourists right to that mall rather than these smaller locations. And quote, some small businesses report a decline in trade of as much as 90% since Westfield opened, with others saying the devastating impact it has had on their businesses means they have no future. That's from standard.co.uk, a business journal. The Olympics now claims it's the greenest games ever. Compared to what? The 2012 Olympic Stadium Park was built on a former landfill site, stirring up radioactive waste. Quote, The race to meet the Olympic deadline may have resulted in inadequate surveying, as the radioactive hazard was only detected after contaminated material had been unwittingly excavated, according to gamesmonitor.org. The Vancouver Olympics had a 4-lane highway constructed coming through a forested area to get to the site of some of these winter games. I have a brief video clip from the documentary 5-Ring Circus on
You know, I care about the deer in there, the bear, and we've seen them. The eagles nesting up there. You know, why weren't they thinking of the Migratory Birds Act? You know, that's supposed to protect the eagles and all birds in there. What about that red-legged frog? Hey, he needs a home, and he doesn't want to be moved by some work crew.
Not only are wildlife chased out of their habitats, the homeless, who already struggle for a place to live, are moved further and further away from the spotlight of the spectacle in town. This year, they promised 11,000 new homes, and 35% of them would be affordable. Only 675 of them will be social housing, though. So if you're on the list in Newham, London, get ready to wait. According to ProtestLondon2012.com, in Newham, the demand for social housing is high, and the housing waiting lists are growing every day. The average wait is 10 years. My own mother, who recently turned 62 and qualifies for housing in Salem, was on the waiting list for only 3 months. If she had to wait for 10 years, my mother would become homeless for sure. We have to use critical thinking to determine the true cost of things. We see time and time again, when corporations are in control, the environment and the poor suffer even more than before. Corporate businesses, including the Olympics, require our critical thinking to see past their motives for business, to sell more stuff. As you transition from college to your career, please remember to be a conscious consumer and use your critical